like every other practice, whether you're lying down or sitting up, I like to start with some breath work. So I'd like to invite you to find a comfortable position. That might be lying down, it might be seated. I'm going to stay seated for now. And then you can bring your hands wherever feels comfortable. So whether you're lying down and it's on the belly or by the sides, or you're sitting up and it's on the knees or in the lap, you make a choice. So let's start by finding our breath and coming into the space. So inviting you to start exploring those inhales and exhales. And in yoga, we like to breathe primarily through the nose, which is a way of taking deeper, cleaner breaths. So you might like to explore that. If it's not for you, that's absolutely fine. Do whatever works for your body. So inhaling and exhaling. As you inhale, take the breath up to the crown of the head, and as you exhale, release it down to the pit of the belly. Now we all breathe at different paces, so there's no need to try and rush. Do this at a speed that suits you. If you're lying down, just make sure you feel comfortable, that your back doesn't feel like it's pinching. You can bend the knees if it does. And perhaps if the arms are by the side, you might like to turn them to face up, so the palms are facing up. So let's just take a few more breaths here. And especially because we're in bed, let's focus on the sensation around us, the feeling of the material, the sheets, the duvet, the pillows, and what it feels like to be in your body right now. So just a few more breaths here. And coming back to your normal breath, ready to practice. So in bed yoga, we may be lying down, so I'm going to come and join you lying down. So let's start lying down, so long as that feels comfortable for you. Let's bend the knees and plant the feet onto the mattress. I'm on top of the duvet, you don't have to be. And we'll just start here, again, noticing how it feels in the back. And we'll start with some windscreen wipers. So windscreen wipers, you can drop the knees to one side, bring them up to the centre, and then down to the other side. You can take this as deep or as shallow as you like. What I'd like you to focus on is having grounding in the pelvis, so making sure you don't feel like you're kind of just falling off the bed. Keep it quite controlled. So take a few of these. Again, these can be done at your own pace. And the hands and the arms can be out by the side, out wider, it's really up to you. When you're ready, come back to the centre, feet on the mattress, knees bent, and take a moment here. Check in with the body. Now, if you feel at all like you're being compressed by your chest, you might like to bring a pillow slightly under the head to just lift it up and lengthen the neck. We're going to come into a reverse pigeon now. So we keep one foot on the floor. Keep saying the floor, but what of course I mean is the mattress. And we're going to bring the other foot across so that the ankle sits on the thigh, flexing that foot. And then either you can stay here or you could bring the knee in. Now either, if you've got nice long arms, which I do not, but you may, you can go through the centre and grasp behind that thigh. An alternative is to take the hand around the knee and round the foot. Now once you lift the foot off the floor, flex the sole of that foot as well. So both feet are flexed, protecting the ankle. And take a few breaths here, really noticing any sensations, perhaps in the hips, perhaps in the fronts or the backs of the legs. Take a few breaths here. Now, if you like to take a hamstring stretch, stretch that lower foot up into the air or keep it down. Remembering you don't have to come up into the air at all if it's not for you. As you release down, keep the position of that leg, and you can play around with a little twist here, keeping that leg at 90 degrees. And this can be a little bit more intense in the front of the leg. Coming back up to centre, let's untangle before we come to the other side. Let's stretch the legs out. You can take them quite wide if you like. Just take a big stretch, taking the arms up over the head or alongside the body. Inhaling and maybe exhale through the mouth. Bring the legs back to the centre, and we'll come into that on the other side. So taking this reverse pigeon, and again choosing, are you staying here? Will you take your hands through, or will you work with the foot and the knee? Will you add on a hamstring stretch or stick with that pigeon here? Releasing the foot down, sticking with the way that looks, and then coming into a twist on the other side, noticing the difference between the two sides. Now, often the longer you stay in a stretch, the more you'll feel it. There is some talk about length of hold, but really I feel it's a personal choice. So just notice how it feels for you. If it starts to get too much, pull away from it. There's no point in forcing anything. So when you're ready, coming back to the centre, and remembering with the whole of this practice, you take it in your own time. You can pause me, you can take 10 minutes in a posture if you like. Let's untangle the legs. Another choice you might like to now make is to bring the knees into the chest and rock side to side, back and forward. You might notice I've changed position. That's just to get a different angle. So you know you can choose to go sideways, straight down the bed, or whatever you like. And again, holding this for as long as feels good. Releasing the feet down to the floor. We'll take a series of hand movements now, working into the shoulders. So bring the thumb and the index finger into a diamond shape. So hopefully you can see that. And we're going to put that on the belly button. This is called a yoni mudra, which is a sort of hand position or a gesture. And yoni means womb. So this is the kind of region for it. We're going to take the arms up over the head, holding the fingers together. And after we get to the top, now you might go all the way back, you might stop higher up. It's completely dependent on your personal anatomy. You're going to draw the elbows down to 90 degrees, coming into this cactus posture. This is what we call it because it apparently looks like a cactus. We're going to stretch up again, meeting the fingers above the head, and bring them down. Let's take a few of those. One last time. And we can take the arms out wide And one of my favourite things to do, and what I always do actually when I wake up in the morning, is a deep twist. So if you'd like to try this, you cross your legs over as if you're sort of being squished on the train between two people with very wide stances. And I'm going to drop that lower leg down, and I'm going to go quite deep with this. My head is going in the opposite direction or neutral, just so I'm finding space here. Now, in particular yoga practices like yin, which is a floor-based practice, we can hold this for many minutes at a time. You can stay with this as long or as short as you like. What's quite nice about this, it will go into the shoulder, it also into the hip. For me, I also get a little bit of release in my spine. So you might hear a little click or a crack, that's absolutely fine. That's just synovial fluid and air bubbles popping, nothing to worry about. To come up, rather than just yanking the legs up, let's engage the abdominals, so breathing into the belly or the lower back, finding our way up to the centre. We'll untangle the legs and come into it on the other side. You might need to adjust a little bit. And breathe again. You might find compression here, I always do. So you just have to either cope with it, or move it out of the way. Some people like to strap the chest. And then coming back to centre and untangling. Very nice. Stretch the arms up into the air, taking the fingertips apart and imagining there are magnets on the ceiling, just lifting the shoulder blades just a touch away from the mattress and then releasing back down. Let's do that once more. The final thing we'll do before we move on to the front is we'll just work a little bit with the feet. So we're going to flex, pointing the toes up, the heel on the ground, and then bring it down. Now, if it's comfortable for you, you can lift the heel off a little bit. This is harder to do on a soft surface, but you're working into the ankle, the front of the foot. These tend to get very tense, so this is quite a nice exercise to do. Another option, either, obviously I'm hanging off the bed, but you can take some ankle circles as well. It's really important, especially when we're all at home a lot, or you're sitting a lot at a desk, is to work the feet. Lovely. And you might like, before we come onto the front, to take the arms behind the head and just notice how that feels. Where the elbows come to, are they quite high, are they quite low? If that releases anything in the upper back. And as you might have noticed, I've moved around lots of different positions because you don't have to be lying with your head on the pillow. You can make lots of different choices. Next up, we'll move on to our front. So let's come to our front now. So you might like to simply roll over. You might like to completely change things around. It's really up to you. So I'd invite you to now come and lie on your front. I find this better for my back on a bed, I think, because it's softer and there's more give. So notice what your pelvis feels like, what your back feels like. If you have quite a lot of anterior tilt, which is kind of tilting forward of the pelvis, you might find it's quite easy to feel like you're hinging. So just check in, and if that's the case, draw the tailbone down just a touch as you lie on your front. We're going to bring the elbows just ahead of the shoulders and plant the palms. Now we can stay here, or we can lift the chest a touch, drawing the tailbone down and pressing the feet into the floor. This is a Sphinx posture. So you could come into a cobra here where you plant the palms and lift the chest, but obviously there's less stability here. That's absolutely fine. So make a choice, and we'll come through a few of these. So palms down, forearms down, lifting the chest and releasing. Or if you choose a cobra, bringing the hands to the shoulders, lifting, not straightening anything, keeping everything soft, pressing all of the palm, all of the fingers down and releasing. Very nice. Now, a great shoulder stretch that I also like to do when I'm in bed is to stretch out my arm alongside, my palms facing up here. And I'm going to bring my other hand to the side just by my chest. And I'm just going to roll over towards that shoulder. Now, you can keep the head down. If you've got something to support it like a pillow, go for it. And you can bring yourself just however feels right. You can wiggle the arm around. And what we're doing here is we're just working into the shoulder. And again, finding the breath in through the nose and out through the nose, or out through the mouth if it feels like you need that. Coming back to the centre, and then inviting you to take that on the other side. So coming back to the centre, and we'll just take a moment here. We might like to interlace the fingers. If you're interlacing the fingers, a great way to make it more stable is to take your little finger, which is at the bottom, and bring it inside. So that prevents there just being everything balancing on the finger. We'll press down through that, and again lift the chest, coming into a slight back bend here, and release. So from here, we might like now to take that stretch we did on our back here, stretch the arms out, stretch the legs out, imagining magnets going into the wall on both your fingers and your toes. And now, release. If it's too much to stay in your front for this long, of course feel free to alternate front and back, do things on your side, loads of different options here. So again, let's maybe just do those ankle rotations, bringing the feet up into the air, rotating the ankles in one direction and the other. You may have clicky ankles like me. You might not at all, but it's good to do the work anyway. Releasing the feet down. And let's conclude. Let's now move into a child posture. So a child posture is another thing you can do on the bed. So I'm going to come onto all fours. I'm going to take my knees wide. Now you can keep them parallel if that works for you. Bring the bottom back towards the heels. And I like to bring my forearms down around through the spine, dropping the head. You don't have to do it like this. You can choose, depending on your body, to take the arms out alongside you. But you see, if I try and do that, so I would suggest you find a posture that works for you. Having the knees wide, however, will give you more space for the belly. So let's take maybe 5 breaths here. Breathing into the crown of the head, so widening the throat as you inhale. Imagining that maybe it's like a pool of water, growing slowly and then shrinking. And then from here, walking the hands back, let's just come onto all fours. Take a moment, maybe swing the hips from side to side. So hip circles, mobilising through that region. Coming back to the centre. So one final posture that you might like to take before you come into your final rest posture is Viparita Karani, which is legs up the wall. And this is a lovely rest posture. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It's a gentle inversion. So you should be safe even if you've got, blood pressure issues. It's totally fine so long as you take it slow and you keep it gentle. I'm going to demonstrate. So normally I have my pillows like this, but I'm going to move one out of the way because in this case I need to be able to get close to the wall. You might find you don't get close to the wall because your hamstrings are tight or short or many other reasons. This is really common. So just come to where you are, and if your legs aren't flush with the wall, keep a slight bend in the knees. So you come up side on side, and this is fine if you've got a headboard. So I'm going to really come up as close as I can, and I'm going to transition myself and wiggle closer. Creaky bed, and then I'm going to plant my feet on the wall. Now here I can flex my feet. If I wanted to, I could take them wide, although this is more challenging and less relaxing. I could bring the feet together into a bound angle posture. Or I could simply have my legs up. Now the feet don't have to be flexed, they can be just like this. And again, relaxing. And you might like to bring your pillow and take it under the head for a little bit of extra support. You might choose not to. You might also like to take the pillow and bring it onto the belly. So studies show that you actually, it can help with feeling calm by having something weighty on top of you. So I'd like to invite you to take this practice now. If you'd like to pause the video, pause the video. Take this for as long as feels good for you. And you can really work with the breath here, really start to slow it down. Now might be a great time to start to extend your exhalations. So inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. So adding to that calming sensation of having the legs up the wall, you can find that feeling with the breath as well. And now maybe you'd like to find your way out. So starting to bring yourself down. And we're going to transition down one way or the other. So once you've had enough time in Viparita Karani, slowly slide the legs down and find your way out. And from here, we'll take our Shavasana, our final rest. So inviting you to come and lie on the back. Perhaps you'd like to lie on the side. It's really up to you. You're in bed. And just get the body comfortable. Take the arms out alongside the body if you're lying on your back. If you're lying on your side, you might like to bring a pillow between the knees. And again, we'll start to find those extended exhalations. Inhaling maybe for 1, exhaling for 2. Closing the eyes if that feels comfortable. You might like to bring something like an eye pillow or even a mask onto the eyes. And just let the body start to sink into the earth. Releasing the back. Releasing the hips. Releasing the legs and the arms, the hands and the feet. Letting a sensation of calm, of heaviness settle over you. Of warmth, like a blanket covering you. And if the mind wanders, just bring the attention back to the breath, the flow in and out. And then in your own time, you might like to deepen the breath. Start to bring some attention back to the body, back to the space. You might like to start to move the fingers and the toes, the wrists and the ankles. Maybe stretching everything out, maybe bringing everything in. And staying where you are, there's no need to move, but bring the hands somewhere onto the body if that's available. And just feel the warmth of the skin on the skin. Just taking a moment here to thank yourself for coming to practice. Appreciating yourself, your own best teacher. With an open mind and an open heart, the light in me honours the light in you. Well done, and thank you.